Greetings and welcome to another episode of Catholicism and Coffee. I am Stephen Gasinski.
I'm Beth Kaczynski.
And we talk about Catholicism, all things Catholic, the Mass, the sacraments, saints, theology, enjoy some great brews.
So what topic are we going to discuss today?
Reverence at Mass.
Ooh.
Now this is going to be a bit of a hot topic.
Yeah, buckle up. You're in for an exciting ride.
Yeah. Now we're not going to go on the war between TLM and Norvis Ordo.
No.
Or the traditional Latin Mass and the vernacular. We're not going to go on the war about that. There are respective sides and they each have their merits.
But what is most important at Mass is being reverent, which is the purpose of this video if you have not already figured it out.
Yeah. Now, reverence can take many forms. Mm-hmm. Some people need a real definition of what reverence is. We're not going to give you the textbook or dictionary definition because, frankly, it's actually way too broad of a definition in a lot of cases. Excuse me. So, what are ways we can be reverent at Mass? Well, first of all, show up on time. Or a little early.
Yes. If you're not on time, you're late.
It's true. So, now, there was this whole to-do, people asking, oh, when is too late? Too late for Mass? Well, the official, the church answer was, well, you can't be there after the, if you're there after the first reading or something silly like that, you're late. Get there for the opening prayer. Get there on time.
Yes.
Get up there for when, they're getting ready to sing the opening hymn or something. Mm-hmm. That would be helpful.
Yes. Because there's a lot that happens before the first reading. Because there's the welcome. Mm-hmm. There's the glory to God if it's not Lent or Advent.
The Confiteor.
The Confiteor, yeah. So don't just show up for the first readings. And that's not saying that the readings are not important. They absolutely are. But all of Mass is important in some way.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, show up on time. That's a basic one. I honestly don't know why I should say it, why I have to say it, but it seems I have to, so. And leave on time, which is the end of the final hymn.
Yes. For
the love of all that is holy. When the priest exits, that's when the priest exits. The Mass officially ends. I don't know why we have that in, the Mass is in. No, it's not. Actually, the original translation from the original Greek and Latin as such is, the Mass is. Mass ends on the final hymn. Mm-hmm. So we got that. Next thing. Another thing, this is just a simple courtesy, but it should be noted. Please, 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 silence your phone or any other beeping devices. Because we've all had those, we've all been there. If we've been going to Mass for any length of time, there has been those, unfortunate cell phone things happening during, say, the consecration. Mm-hmm. Now, fortunately, some priests will roll with it if it happens during their homily, but let's not do that during the consecration, please. Mm-hmm. And if you're going to be like, oh, you're probably counting like babies crying at Mass, that's completely different. No. Your argument is invalid. Get out.
Mm-hmm. Babies cannot be controlled. They cry out when they need to, when they feel like it. You have control over your cell phone. Control it, please. It does not need to be going off during the Eucharistic prayers, during the readings, during a moment of silence.
Sorry.
And there is nothing more distracting to anybody than a cell phone going off.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, I when a moment of silence, phone ring. Really? Sorry, that just confounds me to no end. I'm going to get a little hot under the collar today in this episode. I'm warning you ahead of time. because I have many complaints about this. I might write a book on it.
Okay.
Okay, that'll be fun. So, another thing, can you please dress properly for Mass? Now, I'm not expecting everyone to all the guys to show up in 3-piece suits. Okay, I have shown up in a 3-piece suit to Mass on occasion. But I'm not expecting everyone to show up in a 3-piece suit or anything like that. But can you just show a little bit of decency and respect?
Mm-hmm. Another big point is remember where you are. You are in the house of the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
And if you were going to meet somebody important, would you show up wearing your ratty shorts and some t-shirt you just pulled out of your dresser? I don't think I would.
I wouldn't either.
Yeah. Now that's not saying, oh, you should be wearing ball gowns and tuxedos to Mass. I mean, if you're there for a wedding, yes, possibly.
I was going to make up a joke about me wearing a tuxedo to our wedding Mass, but you beat me to it. Dang it.
But on a regular Sunday, just dress appropriately.
Mm-hmm.
Dress nice.
Yeah, it would.
Professional, business casual, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, it would save a lot of headaches for everybody.
Yeah, and just think about when you go to a job interview. You want to make a good first impression. How do you do that? You dress well. You want to go to Mass? You're making an impression on a lot of people. And you're making an impression on God. Dress well.
And I'll bounce off of that. The fact that you're going into the house of the Lord, you're also in the presence of the Lord through the Eucharist.
Absolutely.
Don't disrespect the Eucharist.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if people are going to be like, well, you shouldn't disrespect the Eucharist by putting it in, allowing it to be put in your hand. Again, I'm not going to argue about the traditionalist argument versus the modern argument. We're not here to do that. We're here to talk about just basic reverence. Now, if you're receiving it in the hand, do it respectfully. Remember what and whom you are handling.
Absolutely.
I am saying this to ministers. I am saying this to communicants. And also, here's another thing. Receive in a state of grace. If you haven't been to confession in like 6 months to 25 years, and you're going to Mass and receiving, you might want to hightail it to confession beforehand. Mm-hmm. Or at least ask the priest before Mass. If you're not able to arrive at your confessional stated time, at least ask a priest before Mass. And if they say, I can't before Mass, but I could after, you at least made the effort. God will understand that.
And as a reminder, we should be receiving the sacrament of confession at least once a year. Please see our episode on confession for more details.
Thank you. That was our first episode, I think. It was the second.
Yeah, it was early.
It was pretty early on. But, so all of these are important. I'm trying to think what else.
Well, again, remembering where you are and kind of going along with silencing the cell phones. Be quiet. You don't need to be talking to your family or your friends about where to go for breakfast after Mass. You can decide that after Mass. Or plan ahead and decide it before Mass.
Yeah. Have a plan beforehand or just plan afterwards. It's not going to kill you to wait for 2 minutes.
Yes. And there is nothing more distracting than hearing somebody behind you, in front of you, to the side of you, muttering and whispering throughout Mass. It's so distracting. It is so irreverent. Don't be that person doing it.
No. Also, show respect to the priest. Now, you may have issues with the priest or whatever, or you may have issues with ministers personally or whatever. Save it. I've been guilty of this. Fortunately, someone a lot smarter than me in that case made me check myself. And I need to remember that. Sometimes I'll slip, but you need to just... Now, if you want to roll your eyes, if they're doing something incredibly stupid, quietly. Silently, even better.
And remember, Mass is not for us. We're not there for the priest. We're not there for the homily. We're not there for the readers or the cantors or anybody else except for God.
Yeah. Now, there may be a point where your priest is spouting heresy. The homilist is spouting heresy, and you might feel inclined to step up and be like, no. Pray
Write an
about
anonymous letter.
it. Pray about it beforehand at the very least.
Yes. Pray about it and then write an anonymous letter. That is not the time or place to call out heresy.
It would be fun, but probably not conducive.
Not appropriate.
No. So, what else am I missing?
Remember the communion fast. You don't need to be snacking or drinking your coffee during Mass. If you need water or medicine, that is okay. Anything else? Nope.
Yeah, you need your 1 hour fast before. It's technically before communion.
Yes.
I'm trying to put in practice. No, I haven't done this perfectly, but I try to put in practice an hour before Mass.
At least give yourself 30 minutes so that you're safe.
Absolutely.
And most Masses don't last over an hour. Occasionally they do, but no need to be snacking during Mass or drinking anything but water.
Yeah. Yeah, no. Definitely not. Thanks for putting in the communion fast. I forgot about that. And no, if you're over 65, that does not absolve you. That's for fasting during Lent. 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 Have I said Lent enough times? Told you I was going to get hot under the collar. Someone actually made that argument to me once.
Yeah.
Don't worry, we don't drink our coffee right before Mass.
Nope, we do these episodes usually not even on Sundays. Or if it is, it's either well before or well after Mass.
It's been well after Mass. And that's when you see me in a shirt and tie, because I've usually just come from Mass. So, what other points we were wanting to talk about that I'm not remembering right now? I'm just a little, I'm a little fired up. I do not apologize, because I care about the Mass. If you've ever been to an Eastern Rite Vesper or liturgy for the Byzantine Rite specifically, they always chant right before they recite the readings, "Be attentive." Maybe we should bring that over to the Roman Rite, because we need to be attentive. Be attentive to the readings, because you might learn a little bit of something. Now, some people do better by reading along, because your reader's terrible.
Well, some people are just naturally visual learners, not audio learners.
And there is that too. Excellent point. Thank you. Readers, if you're one of those people who more people are just comfortable reading, and it's not because they're visual learners, step up your game. I'm not expecting Shakespeare reading, but at least try. So, definitely be attentive to the readings. Be attentive to Eucharistic prayer.
Yes.
It is the source and summit of our faith. It is the second half of the Mass. Right when the priest receives the gifts and takes them to the altar and starts, prepping for consecration, that's the switch to the Eucharist, the liturgy of the Eucharist.
Yeah, and I once heard somebody say that during the consecration, we are the closest we will be to heaven while on earth. Ever since I heard that, I have seen that whole part of the Mass in brand new light. So keep that in mind. You are close to heaven, you are close to God, you are close to the angels and the saints. Don't take that for granted.
And also, you're going to be united most to Catholics throughout the world than you ever will be.
Yes.
Because it is the meeting between heaven and earth, and Catholicism throughout the world every single time as the Eucharistic prayers and the consecration take place. So really, let that burn in you. Open your heart and mind. Now, if you're tired and getting a little sleepy, we can forgive you a little bit for that, but just really open yourself up. It'll change your life. Any other points?
The major one is, remember, anytime you are in a church sanctuary, Jesus is present in the Eucharist, unless the tabernacle is empty, which
That's
is
Good Friday.
rarely the case.
Yeah, that's only Good Friday.
Yeah. So don't just, if you want to do it in the presence of Jesus, don't do it in the church sanctuary.
No.
Just don't.
And don't be lackadaisical on Good Friday either, because we would not have Easter without Good Friday.
Absolutely.
That's a whole other episode.
Well, Lent is coming up, and Triduum will be here before we know it. We can talk about it then.
Sounds like a blast. So, any other points I'm missing?
Let's see. Yeah, I think we covered most of them. Now, if in doubt of, is this reverent or not, just don't do it if you think it's not reverent.
Yeah, if there's even a 1% chance, you have to take it as an absolute certainty.
Mm-hmm. Now, it's not saying we need to be on our knees during the entire Mass. You can be reverent while sitting, you can be reverent while standing, but whatever you do during Mass or in the church sanctuary, do it reverently.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've worked for the parish before, you've worked for the parish before. You gotta go in there, you gotta move the missalettes around, you gotta put things in the pews. You don't listen to rock music while you do it. You go in, you get the job done, you remember the Eucharist is there.
Safe bet, go with Gregorian chant.
I will not discourage you from singing Gregorian chant while putting things in the pews.
Alright, works for me. I know we got a little personal, I got a little fire in the belly. I've been actually a little under the weather the past few days, so I've been not feeling my best. So I'm finally on the mend. So for all of you who've been praying for me, who knew I was under the weather, please continue to do so. I'm at full capacity, and we can continue serving you on this podcast and our other ways through our books and other stuff.
Mm-hmm. So speaking of other stuff, I added a pretty neat collection, well, I think it's neat, to our Zazzle shop.
And if you're not finding anything in their Zazzle shop, our friends at Sock Religious, check them out. They just dropped a bunch of stuff for it recently. They got some St. Veronica and St. Faustina.
Yes, I don't know if that's new, but I've seen that one advertised a lot lately. And I think they just released some of their Lent stuff too.
Yeah.
Because they do specialty socks for liturgical seasons.
And maybe they'll have some Ashen Candy Hearts, because they had the Candy Heart socks. We should get the Ashen Candy Heart socks, since Ash Wednesday and Valentine's Day are coinciding this year.
That would be fun.
I could get behind, I might buy a pair. It'll just be in black and white. There you go, Sock Religious. You're welcome. I gave you a good idea. Watch this show. I've got tons more. Anyway, send me some socks. Send the wife some socks too. We both love them.
We do.
Anyway. Also, I forgot to mention this. We're over 500 follows on our Facebook page of Catholicism and Coffee. Thank you very much. We really appreciate it. Hopefully we can turn that into YouTube views. So leave a comment. We are pretty good about responding to comments.
Mm-hmm. Or you have the cat help.
Yeah, no, she doesn't. She's over there doing something. She doesn't help me. I try.
She supervises.
That's true. Usually yelling at me because I haven't fed her yet. Anyway, be bold, be brave, be courageous. Drink coffee or tea, Coca-Cola, or whatever floats your boat. It's finally starting to warm up, so the apple cider may not be the wisest choice. But whatever floats your boat. Anytime. God bless.